According to logistics and defense analyses from Nordic infrastructure authorities and strategic studies by organizations like the European Commission and NATO-affiliated research groups, a single railway line in the Arctic is quietly handling millions of tons of critical resources every year, while also playing an increasingly important role in Europe's security strategy, and most people have never even heard of it. This is the story of the Iron Ore Line, a railway that cuts through some of the harshest environments on Earth, connecting the frozen mines of Sweden to ice-free ports in Norway. But this isn't just a railway. It's a strategic lifeline, one that is reshaping logistics, supply chains, and even military planning across the Nordic frontier. So what makes this Arctic railway so important, and why are governments and defense planners paying close attention to it right now? Let's break it down. To understand its significance, you need to start with geography. Deep in northern Sweden lies one of Europe's richest iron ore regions. The mines here produce high-grade iron ore, an essential material used in everything from construction and manufacturing to advanced technologies and defense systems. But there's a challenge. These mines are located in one of the most remote and extreme environments in the world. Temperatures can drop far below freezing. Snowstorms are frequent, and for long periods of the year, daylight is limited. Moving massive quantities of heavy material through this environment is not easy, and yet, every single day, trains loaded with iron ore make their way across this frozen landscape. This is where the Iron Ore Line comes in, stretching from the mining towns of northern Sweden to the Norwegian port of Narvik. This railway is engineered to handle some of the heaviest freight loads in the world. We're talking about trains that are hundreds of meters long, carrying thousands of tons of ore in a single journey, and they do it reliably, even in extreme Arctic conditions. Why Narvik? Because it offers something incredibly valuable, an ice-free port. While many northern ports freeze during winter, Narvik remains accessible year-round due to warm ocean currents. This makes it a critical export point, not just for Sweden, but for the entire region. From Narvik, iron ore is shipped to global markets, feeding industries across Europe and beyond. But here's where things get more interesting. This railway doesn't just move resources, it bypasses traditional bottlenecks. Instead of relying on longer, more congested routes through Central Europe, this Arctic corridor provides a direct, efficient pathway from resource extraction to global distribution. In a world where supply chain disruptions can cost billions, that kind of reliability is incredibly valuable. And that's exactly why this railway is gaining strategic importance, because in today's global economy, control over supply chains is just as important as control over resources. Now add another layer to this story: security. The Nordic region has become increasingly important in global defense planning. With shifting geopolitical dynamics and growing focus on the Arctic, countries in this region are strengthening their strategic infrastructure, and the Iron Ore Line plays a key role in that. According to defense analyses, infrastructure that can support both economic and military logistics is considered highly valuable. Railways like this can be used not only for transporting goods, but also for moving equipment, supplies, and personnel if needed. That makes it a dual-purpose asset, a commercial lifeline, and a strategic corridor. With countries like Sweden and Finland strengthening their ties with NATO and increased attention on the Arctic as a potential zone of competition, infrastructure in this region is no longer just about economics. It's about readiness, it's about resilience, and it's about positioning. But operating in the Arctic comes with serious challenges. Extreme cold affects machinery. Tracks can freeze, snow accumulation can disrupt operations. Maintenance is constant and complex. To overcome this, the railway uses advanced engineering and technology. Tracks are specially designed to handle temperature fluctuations. Snow clearing systems operate continuously, and monitoring systems ensure that any issues are detected early. This is infrastructure built for extremes, and that's part of what makes it so impressive. But there's another reason why this railway matters, and it has to do with the future. The world transitions toward cleaner energy and advanced technologies. The demand for high-quality raw materials is increasing. Iron ore is essential for steel production, which is still a backbone of modern infrastructure. And high-grade ore is especially valuable because it allows for more efficient and environmentally friendly production processes. That means the resources being transported on this railway are not just important today, they're critical for tomorrow, and securing reliable access to those resources is becoming a priority for many countries. This is where supply chain security comes into play. Recent global disruptions have shown how fragile supply chains can be. Delays, blockages, and geopolitical tensions can all impact the flow of goods. By having a stable, efficient corridor like the iron ore line, countries can reduce some of that risk. They gain a level of control, a level of predictability. And in uncertain times, that's a major advantage. But like all strategic assets, this railway also raises important questions. How will it evolve in the future? Will capacity be expanded to handle growing demand? Could it be integrated into larger Arctic logistics networks? And how will environmental concerns be managed in such a sensitive region? Because while the Arctic offers opportunities, it is also one of the most fragile ecosystems on Earth. Balancing development with sustainability will be crucial. Still, one thing is clear. This is not just a regional project, it's part of a larger shift. A shift towards securing resources, optimizing supply chains, and strengthening strategic infrastructure in key locations. The iron ore line may not make headlines every day. It may not have the scale of massive global trade routes, but in many ways, it represents something just as important. A quiet backbone of modern industry, a hidden corridor powering global supply chains, and a strategic asset shaping the future of the Arctic frontier. Because sometimes the most important infrastructure isn't the most visible, it's the one that keeps everything moving, no matter the conditions. And in the frozen north of Europe, that role belongs to a railway that refuses to stop. No matter how extreme the environment becomes, no matter how much the world changes, it keeps moving, and so does everything that depends on it.